Hello everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you a paint over collage art journal page self-portrait that I did. And I did this on Art Joy of Sharing live stream today. That's another channel that Peg Robinson and I do together every Thursday at 8:30 Pacific, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central. You get the idea. 4 o'clock where you live, I don't know. Anyway, we live stream every Thursday. And today we were talking about it was Meet the Artist. We were answering questions about ourselves and our art practices. We were making self portraits at the same time. And I really wanted to talk to you about why you might want to make a self portrait. And this kind of came to me. I mean, I planned it, but I wasn't really thinking about it when I planned it a few weeks ago. We were going to talk about ourselves and make self portraits. This morning it occurred to me why it's a good thing to try to do for yourself. And this occurred to me when I was trying to find a photograph to print out that I could paint over of myself, and looking for at least an hour through photographs and trying to find something that I could even like. And as I was doing that and getting more and more frustrated about not being able to even find pictures that I like of myself, I don't like having my picture taken. I don't like the way I look. I just don't. I realized that I am not the only one who has this. Excuse me. Who has this problem, of talking negatively about themselves and looking at themselves and saying, I don't like you. I don't like how you look. I don't like your personality. I don't like something about you. And we all do this. And the people that we talk to the most in the world are our own selves in our own head. And we should really talk nicer to ourselves. And so that is what my page is about today, is trying to talk nicer to myself and think nicer thoughts about myself. It's also about my art, because art practices are where I work things out. My art journal is where I I try things and I work things out for myself. Um, that's what art journals are for. They're for, you know, setting down and thinking about stuff and putting stuff in your journal and getting it out of your head and onto a piece of paper where you can express yourself. You can express your creativity. You can think about things and talk about things with yourself. So, the first thing that I decided was to pick a color palette of paper that I like. The colors I like together. You guys know I love paper. I just love it. I love painted papers. I love printed papers. I love all kinds of papers that have pattern, stenciled, whatever, doodled on. And so I grabbed some out of my stash that I enjoy. This one's like a super doodly one that I'm just putting down. That one up above it is a paste paper. That one over there is a gel print. Um, this one is gel printing with watercolor that I just put on. That one's some deli paper that has some inks on it. I love all these papers. These are the loves of my life. It's what I want to play with every time I go in my studio. Um, Everyone has their own thing, that they like. Maybe they like stamping. Maybe they like making cards. Maybe they like doing, other stuff. What I do is not necessarily what everyone loves, but these are the things that I love. I love these colors together. I love where I live, and I picked this photograph of the sun rising over the desert because you know what? When the sun comes up every day and you watch the sun come up, it makes you feel like you have another chance and you have another day that you can do something that you've wanted to do and that you've talked about doing but never done. It feels invigorating to watch the sunrise, especially in these dark times. You know what? The sun is still rising, people. We can still go outside to our backyard or our front yard, not anywhere else really safely, but um, I'm feeling very cooped up and I'm tired of being inside. I really would like to go somewhere, but it's just not going to happen. It's not safe, especially not for the people in my home who are at risk. So I have to stay healthy so they can stay healthy. So after I got everything glued down, and I did glue it down with a glue stick, that's something different. I've always used matte medium, but in my art journal, I just decided after watching some other people who do art journaling that maybe it was okay to use this glue stick and glue everything down with it. However, once I did have everything glued down, I do want to make sure that it's going to be staying as it is, that there's not going to be any smearing or running or anything when I go to paint over the top of it, because some of this is watercolor on, gel prints. Some of it is inkjet printed papers. And so, and then there's some other that have some doodling on them, and I don't know if I doodled with water soluble stuff or not. Can't remember. So I went ahead and took some fluid matte medium. Um, I should be doing it very soon here. Maybe not. I'm still gluing stuff down. Anyway, I used fluid matte medium over the entire thing with a brayer, and it should come up very, very soon. These pieces right here that I'm gluing on are actually the edges of gel printing. When you're using a larger plate like a 12 by 12 and you're printing something smaller than the plate, you press down the paper, but then there's paint on the edges, and I usually put another larger piece of paper over the top and pick up that piece of paper first, and I end up with these colorful lines because I use the same piece over and over, and they're kind of fun in collage to use. So I put a few of those line pieces on. All my edges of everything here was torn, including the white stuff off the photo. I tore everything, so it's got torn edges. Making sure everything's stuck down. Sometimes corners keep popping up over and over. So once that was all dried down, then it's time to add paint over the top. And in Art Joy Sharing Art Community this month, our hashtag is about using water-soluble media. And one of my favorite water-soluble media of all time is Neocolor 2 crayons. So I decided to use those to do my painting over today. So I got a piece of Duralar plastic and I scribbled on some colors of Neocolor onto the plastic. It's just basically plastic. It's called Duralar, and I don't know what kind of special properties it might have, but when you're doing a portrait and you're trying to build up a skin tone, it's fun to just layer one color over the top, over the top, over the top. And I could have done this with maybe watercolors, and that would have been fun too. But I decided to use the crayons, which I'm basically making a watercolor palette by writing on the Duralar and picking it up with my water brush. That being said, the crayons are often more opaque than watercolor, so I don't get quite as translucent layers, but I'm mixing it with water so I can adjust with my water brush the type, the how much water is in there, and it will change the translucency. So I'm using different peachy and pinky tones. I'm using white. I'm using some purples, blue, and some brown in the hair will come up in a bit. And I'm just layering one color. The first layer is super pale. You probably can't even see it in the video. And then I just keep trying to add lights where the lights should go, where the highlights are in the photo, and adding darks. I said during the live stream, which you guys can go back and watch the real-time recorded live stream if you'd like to watch this in real time. It might be more instructional to do that. But I said I'm not enjoying this. And I think that's because it's a picture of me. I just don't like it. I don't like a picture of me. So having to color myself, I wasn't having that much fun. But by the time I got to the hair, I was having fun. But I'm adding cooler tones like purples and blues where the shadows are, and warmer tones where the highlights are, basically. And then I have peachy and pinky warm tones, which are colors of my very pale, easily sunburnt skin. So I'm starting to do the hair, and in the photograph, I have faded purple in my hair. I have a streak. I've been wearing that for several years. A streak of purple in my hair, just because I like it. I don't do my whole head. I just do one streak. But right now I don't have it because I have been inside uh, since March. I have not had my hair trimmed or colored. I can do it myself if I want to. It's just like, I don't even know what day it is basically this time at this time. I don't care if my hair's colored or not. I keep it in a ponytail all the time. So nobody would even know if it had a purple streak or not. But in the photograph, I did put the purple streak in. It's something that I do normally have. And that made it fun. I liked doing that. And then I went back to adding more layers, just continuing to paint with the neocolor 2. And it comes out watery. Um, when I look at the photo at the end, it's quite watercolory looking because I use so much water with the water brush. I don't think that my chin looks that big, but maybe it does. When I smile, my chin comes out pointy. I don't like that. Um, Also, I've noticed that when I do animal drawings and portraits of people, that I really should be doing them on an easel. Because when you do the stuff flat like I do, you get an elongated view of it. And all the faces lengthen out, and all the animals lengthen out taller and more thin than they are in actuality. So if I had this upright on an easel or something, it would be easier to make it accurate. However, I'm painting over a photo, so it should be accurate, right? You would think. So I guess my chin really is that big. It does stick out that much, I guess. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. But anyway, I'm about finished up. I'm going to start um, doing some more with the rest of my pages. Oh, I guess I got out a Stabilo all pencil and did a little bit of darks. The pencils, actually, that's just a drawing pencil, I think. The neocolor crayons are not sharp anymore because I've used them so much. They're all dull. So I don't feel like I'm not going to sharpen them. I mean, let's be realistic. So it's best to put in some of the finer details with a pencil or a fine tip brush, something like that, which I do. I do use this. This is the smallest of the Pentel water brushes. It has a very fine tip, so I can paint in details with a very fine tip. And I also can use pencil. I know I used the Stabilo pencil at some point. I could also use pens if I wanted to put in some of the finer details. So now I'm moving on to the page, just adding some linear shapes to the page. I'm not sure what's influencing that, but I don't know. Probably something. I think my hair is a little bit lighter than this, but I might be wrong. It looks pretty dark in the photo. If you want to see the reference photo, I did put it on my Facebook as my, um, my changed the photo on my Facebook to the one that I used for this, so that you could see it. But it's fun to just put some colors on the page with the neocolor, just writing it on there. It's gratifying to do that, and then blending it a little bit with the brush. I'm using similar colors to what's already there, but just emphasizing them. Then I decide I want to add a little bit of white because, of course, all my papers are bright, and so there's not really any white space left. So I decided to use some stenciling with white acrylic paint. Titanium white is an opaque color. My sponge pouncer was wet because I had washed it, and I realized that my stenciling was pretty bad, so I switched out my sponge pouncer and I wiped back some of the stenciling and started it over with it, because you can do that with a sealed page. Remember, I sealed this whole thing with matte medium, so I can use a little bit of baby wipe to kind of wipe back some of that bad stenciling where the paint went under the stencil, and fix that with a dry sponge. The stencil is from Stencil Girl. Both of the stencils I used are from Stencil Girl. They're the 4x4s. Probably came in club sets, maybe because they're 4x4s. And I don't think I've bought very many 4x4s, but you always get one in the club every month. So that's probably where they're from. This one has lots of dots in different sizes. The other one has kind of a labyrinth looking type thing with lines going around and around in a kind of a square. This brings back in some white, in some pattern to this. So it's just something I wanted to do. I also used my white Posca pen and splattered at some point. And then I had these stickers. They're in my stash. I don't know what they're from, but that one says, I think it says you are amazing, and the other one says you can do anything. Positive self-talk for myself on my page today. That's the reason I put them on there. They matched the colors and they had kind of fun writing. And then I did some shadows with Stabilo All Pencil and my water brush around the words, around the stenciling. I'm not sure where else, just because I think it looks cool. I hope you guys are liking this video and are thinking about doing a self-portrait. If you are, please join our Art Joy of Sharing art community on Facebook if you haven't already, and then share your self-portrait artwork that you did. We would love to see it. Positive people in that community, and they will give you positive feedback. We don't allow any negativity in there. There's no reason for it. So we take care of that if there is any, which there really hasn't been any because our community is so sweet. They're just a bunch of nice people. So if you are liking this, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment or question below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on your notification bells and share this on Pinterest. All those things help my channel by helping other people find me out there in the YouTube universe. So still working with the Stabilo All Pencil in black. Stabilo does come in other colors. There's brown, there's white, there's red, green, yellow, but I tend to use the black. I did some mark making by kind of highlighting some of the dots that I put on the page. I think the last thing I did to finish up my page is I used an ink pad and did black edges around the page because I had so much black Stabilo on there. I wanted to frame in the pages with some black ink, which always gets all over my hands, and then I have these black lines on my hands for days because it's permanent ink. Oh, I did white Posca pen. That's right. I already told you that. I did some splatters, but I also did some sketchy lines and highlights with it. Just because I like to do that with my white Posca pen. Sketchy lines make me happy. So that is it for me for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Links to the recorded live stream and the art community will be down below the video, and you can join any of those that you want to. Bye-bye.